In 2021, we had 364 trans women of color killed in North America. The average expectancy rate for a trans woman of color is 34 years old. I'm past that by 2 years. I didn't have to come out as black. I was always a black person, but coming out as a gay person and then coming out as a trans person was scarier for me because it wasn't something that people saw automatically. I was born in Glace Bay, Nova Scotia. Being a person of color and being an effeminate person of color, it was a lot of people that didn't understand who I was, so therefore I didn't understand who I was. When I was growing up, I wasn't white, I wasn't black, I wasn't straight, I wasn't gay, there was always that middle person. So no one knew where to put me at in the community. I joined the Navy on my 18th birthday. Before I left to join the Navy, I came out to my parents and I felt a burden weighed off me. But then joining the Navy, where I was told you can't be queer, somebody said to me once, "Oh, so you're black and you're gay? Like, do you just hate your life?" Like it was something that I could choose to be. It's not. So it was I was back in that closet again, and it just kind of messed with my mind for a while. I didn't always know I was a trans person. I knew I was different. But before I left the Navy, I was in rehab because I wasn't dealing with my internal struggles. And when I went through the therapy, that's when we started talking about being a trans person. But then I left the Navy, I moved to Toronto, I was up there for a year and a half, and I started to see drag performers, because I was a drag queen already, that were trans, and I was like, you can be both? I didn't, because there was nothing like that down here at the time. Elle Noir was like that person that I was able to be effeminate, I was able to be myself, able to do things that I wasn't positive about before, but I could now because I was using that as a shield. But I was going to realize Christopher was not existing anymore. So drag kind of was a way for me to start my transition, as many trans people do, they go through the drag scene. But Elle Noir has been now 17 years. I always say Elle Noir is my longest running relationship because she's the one who's been through the worst of the worst and the best of the best with me. And because of Elle Noir, I'm able to now work in my job that I have. I'm able to reach people. I don't think I've ever would have been able to get to that point if it wasn't for Elle Noir. And then in 2011, there was an incident where I was shot. They were yelling homophobic slurs at me while it was happening. Even if it wasn't a hate crime, if you're trying to shoot somebody and you're yelling those names, it's, for me it was. And I was told basically by the police it wasn't a hate crime. So I was like, do I want to do this transition? Is it worth my life? And then in that moment, I realized it is my life. Now I want to make sure that whatever I do from here on, Christopher William Cochrane, that 11-year-old little boy in Glace Bay that didn't have a voice or a person to look to, have one. So everything I do is for that little boy because there's so many of us around the world. Now I do it for a living. I work with 2SLBT Youth as a support service educator. I work with the DOE. I guest lecture at some universities. I am the vice chair of Halifax Pride now for the second year. We're making sure that QT BIPOC is the center voice. I've helped change legislature in Nova Scotia for trans individuals. But my intersectionality of being a black trans person is really how I kind of focus my life. I want to be that voice for people that don't want to speak, but I also want to be that voice for people that can't speak for them. Whatever people's definition of a black person is, being a black person, this world is not easy because of the black youth, because of the trans youth, because of the non-binary youth. They are the ones that are going to be the Marsha P. Johnsons who go and change the world. I'm Chris Cochrane, and this is my Black Atlantic experience.